right? I appreciate that the way you spoke and the way you explained the concepts, right? It is highly appreciable. A lot of knowledge you had about the topic, no doubt about that. And this goes to show the depth of knowledge that you possess about different, kind of issues and different topics altogether. Um, Today's topic is actually a mingle or mix of business and non-business English as well, right? Because these concepts are actually often dealt in non-business part as well, right? Or business English as well. Talking about resources, actually, you're focusing on, and you had a lot of things to talk about, and I'm impressed by the depth of knowledge that you had about this topic. Uh, Resources, uh, like you said, and like it is understood by all of us, is actually that asset which is which might be renewable and non-renewable in nature, and which is actually in the form of raw material sometimes. It's in the form of humans at times. It's in the form of knowledge as well, right? Which provides the basis to the business, which provides a kind of a succor to the people at large, right? To meet the necessities and wants, right? So resources, there might be certain resources which can be utilized and which can be used by people at large, and there are certain other resources which are actually used and utilized by kind of a specific setup as well, a specific institution or a specific industry or a specific business for that matter, right? So, for instance, if we talk about certain resources, okay, which are actually used by both, kind of for domestic purpose, right, for daily consumption by humans, and also by industries. Like, for example, if you talk about water, water is actually used by certain industries, and that's also consumed by humans at large. It's actually considered to be a consumer-based product, right? So it is used for industrial purposes, for manufacturing purposes, and it is also used for kind of daily needs and necessities of people at large, right? So that is what kind of this water is, right? So water is considered to be a very important resource for the simple reason that it actually kind of meets so much of our needs, necessities, and wants, right? If we don't have water, then there might be a real kind of exigent situation out there, right? Water is considered to be one of the most significant, most valuable, and most important resource, right? Without water, things might be really very difficult, not just for industries, I would say, for human sustenance and survival as well. It's important that water is actually in a kind of water already exists, and we actually preserve water as well, right? So that's so very important, and it's so very kind of imperative for us to understand this reality. So this is like one of the many resources that are there around us. And apart from these resources, there are many other kind of natural resources. That means those objects or those products which are there by virtue of its existence, okay, from the nature side, or by virtue of the fact that nature has actually produced it and keeps producing and renewing it throughout. Okay, so that is actually called natural resources. Natural resources, if we talk about, we can say that this is also a natural resource. Water is also a natural resource because water is actually found in its natural form, right? Water in the river, water in the maybe sea, ocean, right? Water in the well for that matter, water in the pond for that matter. These are water. I mean, this is actually what this is water where we actually figure out that they exist in its real form, in its natural form for that matter, right? So water is always a natural resource, and its usages I have already talked about. Apart from these, kind of natural resources, there are also non-natural resources which are actually kind of created after certain kind of manipulation or maybe transformations, right? After adding better products or certain other products, if we get a different kind of product, all right? So, for example, if we in industries, for especially when industries use raw materials, right, to create
Mhm.
a finished product, they actually put that raw material into some kind of execution, right? They actually put them into some kind of process, which we call processing for that matter. So once processing is done of those raw materials, we actually get a complete and a finished product for that matter, right? So that's how things work out here. And so raw materials actually which occur in its raw form can be given a shape or the shape of a finished product through certain processes, technical, non-technical processes, right? Eventually, that is going to make uh, kind of a natural resource into a non-natural resource, right? So, for example, if we actually use kind of a specific product like a raw material, say for instance, rubber, right? If we use rubber and as in its natural form, which occurs in its natural form, right, and then put it through different processes, and ultimately we get a finished product out of that rubber, right? Say for instance, we get a rubber shoe for that matter, or we get a rubber, maybe a rubber ball for that matter, which is used to kind of in games and sports for that matter. So this is what we are doing. We are actually creating a finished product, which is, and a product is actually a resource in itself, because that product actually kind of meets necessities and wants of the people, right? So if kind of if some rubber which is obtained to the from the rubber tree is actually processed and kind of transformed into a new product, like a rubber shoe for that matter, that shoe is actually a resource for the person who is going to wear it, because it's an asset for the person, because it's going to meet the necessities of the person while the person's walking, or the person is actually kind of doing certain jobs for the matter. So in this way, kind of resources can be natural and non-natural as well, right? But the most important thing about resource is actually its kind of preservation for that matter, because there are certain resources which might get replenished, and which can actually get depleted as well, right? So we have to ensure that depletion doesn't really happen. So only that we have to ensure that we actually make proper usage of it, right? So this is important. And oil is considered to be one of the most other important natural resource, okay, because oil is actually used for several purposes. After processing oil, we get diesel and petroleum for that matter, and yeah, probably it's actually used in the automobile industry. Not just automobile; it's used for multifarious purposes and reasons. Right? It's one of the most expensive resources to have ever existed. Oil-rich countries are actually one of the most richest countries of the world nowadays. Import and export actually leads to a lot of incoming and outgoing of maybe foreign currencies for that matter. Okay, it helps countries to grow prosperous and rich because of the exports and exports earnings for that matter. So
Mhm.
this is actually the important thing that we have to understand as far as natural resources are concerned. And coming to the kind of other non-natural resources which are there, human resource is also considered to be one of the most important non-natural resource, but also it can be considered from a certain perspective, from a certain viewpoint, as a natural resource. So if we talk about, say, humans are like workers, people working as blue collar workers or white collar employees in the office or at any other institution for that matter. They are actually an asset because they are supposed to do a specific task. And this task they can do because of some kind of skills that they have, experiences that they have, knowledge that they have, education that they have got, right? All these actually come in handy to carry out a specific task for that matter. So it's imperative that we actually kind of we keep our skill level very high, so that we can actually do the job, our jobs in hand, efficiently, without any failure for that matter. So that is the idea here, as far as natural resources uh, as far as non-natural resources are concerned. Human resource is actually important because humans are actually the heart and vein of any organization, right? People who do white collar jobs, tech documentation work, official work for that matter, right? Interaction and communication, right? though there are mechanisms, but they have to be programmed, they have to be guided, and they have to be directed towards a specific destination. So, and that is actually handled by humans only. So, because the human resource is very significant, an important and significant part of any organization, and the country as a whole, for that matter. So, this is actually, you can say, human resource, and we have got knowledge based on knowledge capital, which is also a human resource for that matter. This it's similar to human resource because knowledge capital is actually there in humans, and humans use their skills to kind of do certain jobs, right? Knowledge capital can be kind of transformed and transferred as well, right, by way of training, enhancement of skills. It's actually the transfer of knowledge capital from one person to a set of persons or to a group of persons for that matter, right? So that is the basic idea here as far as kind of natural resources, as far as non-natural resources are concerned. And knowledge capitalism significant because that is actually the key to the growth of an organization. It's actually significant because it provides the impetus for the person, kind of for the organization as a whole to grow and get the job done for that matter, right? Small scale sector and the large scale industries. That's another topic that was there. And I think that you discussed it quite elaborately. Small scale sector is there in many countries of the world, and large scale industries are also there at the same time. So basically, what we presume is that those sectors where large scale industries don't really hop around, they're actually the ripe and a breeding ground for small scale industries. This we call niche marketing in in corporate terms, right? Niche marketing is that kind of business, or it's that sector where small scale industries and medium sized industries, they actually grow and prosper because there is less competition in the market. Just because of the absence of large scale or big industries within this segment, right? So this is actually a small scale industry, and at the end of the day, sometimes it is often assumed that now with the rise in competition and with the intensity of competition that is actually always on the rise, we figure out that these industries are small scale industries are also facing some kind of competition because of the fact that large industries, big industries, they are expanding, and they are always in the expansion mode, right? So nowadays you'll find even big industries have got into those sectors where they hadn't actually thought of getting into in the past, right? They are getting into retail, they're getting into consumer good industry, they're getting into kind of non-consumer good, in the capital good industry as well. So this is actually the challenge for small scale industries. But at the end of the day, small scale industries have also kind of created the ground and base for themselves, right, from where they can actually take themselves to the next level. Bruno, very quickly, I would like you to come up with your point of view on this, if you have any.
Great.
And
Great. Thank you very much. We are on time, Tanvir. Thank you very much for providing your explanation. Indeed, when you talk about research, it's very important. It's a very good topic to talk about, indeed, even if we decided to talk about that more than one time, because we know how important it is, the research, but we also know that some kinds of research are being um, are being using actually are being used without controlling, like the water. Yeah, I have right here in Brazil a plenty of examples of people that look actually clean the pavement with the water instead of using the spoon. I don't know exactly. I think the spoon is that tool that we can use to clean, the dirt, right, of the pavement. Not the spoon. I don't know exactly the name, uh, but yes, the broom. the broom, right? The people use the broom to clean. Instead of use the broom to clean the pavement, all right, they
Okay.
use water, and it is not acceptable, right? Because they are actually spending, let's say like that, water without any precedent. So, and also we have another resource. I think you described that it is the oil to produce gasoline. I don't know if you provide this example. I don't remember, but the oil is a non-renewable resource. We know
Absolutely.
that the oil will be actually end, all right, in the future. We know that. I don't know when, but we know that the oil will be extinct. There will be a scarcity of oil in the world, and the scientists, the planet, started to use renewable resource in terms of, for instance, electricity. To use electricity to replace the gasoline in cars, electricities, all right, and other kinds of things that we need, stuff that we need to survive, for example. Right? I think it is important. So, Tanver, that's what I got to say. Thank you very much. If you don't have any further comments, we can finish the class.
Absolutely, Bruno. I think yes, whatever you talked about, that is absolutely correct. You just resonated my ideas as well. You talked about oil, and you also talked about the fact that you saw and noticed some individuals cleaning the street or the passage, kind of with probably water. You said instead of
Yeah,
broom,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So yeah, maybe this is actually also practiced out here in India. And if you actually
yeah.
kind of clean the passages or the street or maybe the roadside with water instead of broom, then actually it makes the road all the more clean and dirt free for that matter. Because it is needed at the at certain at certain in certain situations for that matter. Because what water does is that it actually kind of removes the dirt and filth from the surface almost permanently, right? I won't say like it's 100% permanent. It's just that the dirt actually kind of goes away or disappears for a certain period of time, right? And it won't really come back
Mm-hmm.
again. When you use broom, actually, it might actually the dirt and the dust and the filth they might return again within after a few hours only. So that's why you will find in many countries of the world, the authorities actually use water to clean the surfaces of the road or the street instead of using broom for that matter, because it makes the surface of the road all the more clean and clear for. And also it is there for a long time. The cleanliness
But
that is there, that remains there for a certain number of days for that matter, right? Which
yes, but
might not be the case you clean the
uh,
surface with brooms.
yeah,
So,
actually, but what I mean, not when you talk about a large space, Tanver, but for instance, the front of the house, the front of the
the front
house,
of
the passage, the front of the house when we have the street, or no, not the street, but the pavement, the roadside in front of my house, for instance. I should
Hmm.
not use the water, but I can use the broom because to use the water to clean the leaves that dropped from the tree, for instance. All right, it
Yeah,
doesn't make
that
sense.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, to a great extent, you are correct that when the leaves are falling from the trees and they're falling on the road, it needs to be collected
Yes,
first, right? It needs to be kind of cleaned with the with the broom for that matter first, and then probably after that they
yeah,
can actually go for some kind of cleanliness drive with the help of water, right? So that's how things work. I think initially they have to clean it with the help of the broom and then remove all the leaves from the roadside, and then try and use water after that, unless it is required. Say, you know?
Yes, indeed. There are just to finish it. There are some states, some states right here in Brazil that people that use water to clean the front of the house without any, let's say, without any justification and without to justifying, you know,
Yeah.
you will receive a fine for that.
Yeah. It's important because in certain countries the scarcity of water is there, and probably one has to show a sense of alertness when it comes to usage of water. Okay, using water for the right purpose is important, because there are many other places in the world which has got some kind of scarcity of water, and if
Mhm.
we don't use it responsibly, then probably we might actually have to run out of it at a certain stage, right? But still, I feel that the scarcity level is so very less. It is still there, and it will be there in future as well. But since it is
Mhm.
an important, no matter it gets depleted or it gets replenished, it's our responsibility that whatever resource that is there, we use it responsibly, right? And at the end of the
For
day, those resources which are going to be there and will keep on kind of getting renewed or replenished, right?
indeed,
And yes, you are correct. It's that different countries have different rules and regulations, so one has to
mhm,
go by those regulations, ensure that they
indeed,
act responsibly. No,
indeed. Thank you very much, Tanver, for doing this class. I don't know, Tanver, if we can use at least 30 minutes to another class, but in the last class I didn't use my minutes because
absolutely.
I couldn't. I don't know if you have any space in your agenda in the next few days. I don't know, maybe Friday,
Yeah,
to use at
available
least 30
tomorrow.
minutes.
We
Yeah.
can connect tomorrow
Okay.
as well if you want. We can connect tomorrow and do the last lesson that you missed out. No,
All right. All right. Thank you very much. I will send you a message to agree
absolutely.
the time exactly. Thank you very much, Taver. See you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you. You take care. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Also, please confirm the class. Okay, thank you.